Hello, Trekkies and Trekkers. Welcome back to this Star Trek podcast. I'm your host, Dorinda, and I'm a recap every 2 weeks an episode of Star Trek TNG. Today we recap the episode Legacy, and I will be joined by Marc. I'm always looking for Trek friends who would like to recap with me the episodes or do a bonus episode. So if you are interested, let me know on one of the social medias of the podcast, or of course you can email at trekkie1982stow@hotmail.com. I would appreciate it if you like this video, comment on the episode, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. And now for the plot of the episode. The Enterprise, under the command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, responds to a distress call from the Federation freighter Acros, which has suffered engine failure and taken emergency orbit around the planet Tucana 4, the birthplace of the Enterprise late Chief of Security Tasha Yar. The Enterprise arrives just as the Acros explodes and finds a trail left behind by the freighter's escape pod leading to the colony. Tucana 4 government collapsed 15 years before, and the last Federation ship to visit 6 years earlier was warned by the colony's warring factions that trespassers to the planet would be executed. Because the freighter's crew lives are in danger, Picard decides to attempt a rescue. Commander Riker leads an away team to the surface, where they find the colonists initially unperturbed by their presence, but soon end up in a standoff with one of the colony's two remaining warring factions, the Coalitions. Their leader, Hayne, reveals that the other faction, the Alliance, holds the Acros survivors hostage, and offers the Enterprise the Coalition's support in exchange for Federation weapons, a proposal that Riker rejects. Hayne, however, after learning of Tasha Yar's service aboard the Enterprise, instead offers as a liaison Ishara Yar, saying she is Tasha's sister. Picard accepts Ishara's aboard. Although the crew is initially skeptical, DNA tests support her claim, and she gradually gains their trust. Commander Data, who was especially close to Tasha, becomes friends with Ishara, who seems ready to leave behind her life in the colony. To find the hostage, Chief Engineer Jodie LaForge suggests using the crashed escape pod's instruments. Ishara recommends that she beam separately to a nearby location as a distraction, because her implanted proximity device will set off the Alliance alarms. The crew executes the plan, but Ishara is wounded in the attempt. Riker rescued her and is impressed by her bravery. Later, Ishara privately tells Haynes it's working. When the Enterprise receives a message from the Alliance announcing that they are preparing to kill the Acros crew, Picard's crew decide to execute Ishara's proposed rescue plan. Dr. Crusher removes Ishara's proximity device, which she gives to Data as a memento. Riker leads an away team to the planet, where they rescue the hostage, but Ishara disappears in the confusion. Data finds her trying to disable the Alliance security grid. Ishara reveals that a large coalition force is just outside the Alliance perimeter, waiting to attack. Data concludes that all her interactions with the crew was a ploy. Riker arrives to distract Ishara, just as she fires at Data, who dodged and then stuns her and reversed her attempted sabotage. Riker notes that her phaser was set to kill. When the away team and Ishara are back aboard the Enterprise, Hayne demands that Picard returns Ishara and challenges his jurisdiction. While Riker argues that they have cause to hold her for firing on two Starfleet officers, Picard decides to allow her to leave. As Data escorts her to the transport room, Ashara claims he was the closest thing she had to a friend. Data considered his relationship with both Ashara and Tasha as the Enterprise departs. So we are going to rewatch the episode now. I hope you do too, and then we will be back with the recap. Welcome back everyone, and welcome back Mark.
I'm here and ready.
Alright. We both have rewatched the episode. What is your first, in general, thinking of it?
Well, I think this episode shown a weak point in the whole crew. Everyone was so ready to be friend of Tasha, but they wanted to be friends of
Ishara.
They wanted to be friends, so friend of Ishara, yeah. But all they was capable was to be friends of Tasha.
Yeah.
So you see how family connections can be problematic when you lose someone so close.
Yeah. And I think everyone wanted to believe that she was Tasha Yar's sister. And, well, there was this last moment before they went back to the Enterprise when Ishara was overloading the generator to disconnect all the what's it called? The detection devices. She didn't want to kill Data, and she cared. So there was one moment that I was thinking, if you are using Data and using the family connection of Tasha Yar, why are you care for Data? He's also a machine, but also in that short of period, what would it mean to you? Of course, she told everyone that he was the closest such thing to a friend. But yeah, I was thinking, why would you care for him if you sabotaged everything and used him for what you wanted to do?
Well, the first motivation of Ishara, it was not to get a family. The first motivation was to be inside the plans of that movement that she was in.
Mm-hmm.
She was in to get more weapons, to be more important to that party. So when she got inside the Star Trek family, she was very shocked with what she saw there. She's from a world where violence and sadness was always in focus, and she found out that Tasha had a family, a complete family, with people loving her, respecting her, etc., etc. So you see, it's not an easy world to get in.
It is, and the one thing that was really suspicious for me was that when she told Data that she wanted to quit the movement, she wanted to go get out of the colony and want to join Starfleet. And I was thinking, you always say that when Tasha left, you still saw that as weakness. And now you want to join yourself?
Well, she was trying to be easy to go, but she didn't buy. In fact, well, you can see the reaction of Deanna Troy in that.
Yeah.
She noted that was something that was not being explained yet. So it was not easy for her to buy the idea of Ishara being a deserter.
Yeah, what weird was when Ishara come onto the ship, she had already answers, and including when she came into the reading room, the first thing she said was, "You don't believe that I'm Tasha's sister." And later on,
well, the first order there was to not trust her completely. They needed to follow all the tests and everything else to really identify Ishara. And what I can say, Ishara was a very, very beautiful model, an actress. She has very, very, very beautiful attributes, and the director of the episode explored that, making her use it a very good collant. That was even, how can I say, that collant was a nice piece of uniform.
Yes.
For her to use.
But there was that moment. Yes.
You first.
I want to say there was that moment, indeed, that they had this meeting again with the senior officers, and there was that time, that moment that I thought that was Troy was talking to Data in the way of she was asking if he was befriending her. And I think Counselor Troy was at that point of, and that's what I found a bit weird, because normally she has more feeling of how the person is or what the person's will do. And in this episode, it was completely foggy in a way.
Yes, that was planned to be like that. We also could not trust Ishara at the first moment, but it was built so beautifully. So we so wanted to have her in the family, but unfortunately, not only the crew was the target of their illusion, but we also was.
Yeah.
You see? She was dead for 2 years at this time.
I do think that Ishara was, when she really talked to Data, she was really interested in and curious about Tasha. And the only thing is, I think she has been raised in a way that when she, and it reminded me of the Klingons, when Ishara heard how Tasha Yar was, how she died. Yes. Ishara said, "Well, I will never die like that. I will go fighting." And in one way, I can't believe that a sister would look down to another sister to like that, like you just been a coward and you wanted to go away and you left me behind and etc.
She learned more about Tasha Yar than she ever learned when Tasha Yar was with her.
Mm-hmm.
So there was so much about Tasha she needed to learn about, and she learned it only with each one of the crew. Even the captain told her to be. So the crew knew more Tasha Yar than Ishara Yar.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we see in the first scene of this episode, we see, of course, that it is poker night. Mm-hmm. And we have Data, Riker, Troy, and Worf who are poker.
Mm-hmm.
There was a moment that Riker wanted to trick Data.
Yeah. But his capability of observation broke his illusion.
Yeah. What is really funny because you could see that Data, although he's a machine, he still has this little human traits, what I always say. And you could see him a bit of smirking of, I got you, And especially the funny part was when he actually threw the cards over his shoulder. And
over his shoulder?
Yes.
No. He only... yes. He threw out the other cards and he threw out off the shoulders. Yes, I remember that.
So, in one way, it's nice to see that we see the senior staff actually relaxing, because none of the times when we see the Enterprise is all action. Is there anything what you would love to see the senior staff doing more as a relaxation?
Oh yes. Well, they have the poker time, they have the holodecks, and they have, well, the holodecks are the most impressive way of escapism that they have. They can make shows for the crews to see. Someone they have nice capabilities to show their talents as actors, especially Data and Dr. Crusher. Even Picard was in that. So you see, the holodeck are the most impressive way of, how can I say, the way of distraction they have there.
So what do you think about the storyline of the episode? Because what do you think of the storyline of the episode? I had the feeling it's a bit of sluggish in the whole pace of the episode.
I don't think it was sluggish, because we have a very new character in there. The Tasha Yar was, how can I say, it was very much to absorb in that.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was a very impressive new character.
Yeah.
I don't think it was sluggish. I think it was a nice speed, but the people down there, they was very slow and terrible to understand. But that how can I say, it was a little ambitious, too much ambitious, politically ambitious, and that difficult things. when we are in Starfleet, we don't understand how to be so ambitious in that. Okay, they are very ambitious against the other team, and we as one team we can't understand that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the writers had becoming more of writing a bit more about the two alliances of the two groups down in the tunnels?
Well, Riker have a bad time down there especially because of Ishara, because she was making decisions all a part of of her team. And as I said, we have difficulties to understand, and Riker was very, very mad about that, and Picard understood and calm Riker down, and as always, and as all we knew, all was Ishara's fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it was not only her fault. She was only trying to do what her leaders do.
Mm-hmm.
She was not only fulfilling orders, but she was in her team. She was not working for Starfleet or anyone else.
Do you think she could be if this never would played old? Do you think she would be sincere, becoming friends with the crew of the Enterprise and maybe staying on the Enterprise?
Well, I think it will be a very, very hard decision, which she would not. So, if you see how Tasha Yar difficult had with the crew, being someone always ready to be violent at first, and all the time needing to stand down. So she would have many difficulties to be in Starfleet. She would come to the Starfleet and go to the academy.
Mm-hmm.
That would take her at least 4 years until she come in the seventh season and say hi.
Yeah. I don't think she would do well in Starfleet, to be honest. She is totally different than... Yeah, like you said, we see that Tasha Yar has difficulties to adapt, but she was more more violent and more wild than Tasha would be.
Yes, I would say she would have a long time in the academy until understand how we do the things we do. Okay, I think it was a very nice actress they found this.
Yeah, and
to do this show.
Yeah, and I think if you put them together next to each other, she and Tasha Yar, they are similar, and so they could have been sisters.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine to whom she would be a good friend, except for Data. But I don't know if she would be a friend to him. So you see, she was a surprise now. After the academy, she could be much more surprising.
Yeah. So imagine that Tasha Yar was still alive at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tasha Yar would go with the away team and figure this out? And I think Ishara Yar wouldn't be assisting them because she would tell you right away, I don't have a sister, and that's just they just want to gain something.
I don't think so. I think they would have a very hard time to understand each other. She wouldn't only understand that she was working to a faction, and she would not trust any faction. And to note that her sister is working to a faction would have her, with her actual training, she would recommend Picard to be away from her. And the other crew will not miss Tasha, and they will follow her recommendation. I don't know this sister, and we don't trust her, and I recommend you to don't trust her too. That would put away all the drama in this episode.
Maybe it's just, but it could also be like that they fighting against each other, like they're not accustomed to what they really are. Like Tasha was so long away, and even if Tasha would go down with the away team,
well, I have a psychologist that told me one time, this is the dynamics between brothers and sisters. In this case, that would be classical. What she is, I am not. Okay, what Tasha did, I don't do.
mm-hmm.
So they will need to work on this. Okay, unfortunately, Tasha was dead, and they needed to deal with Ishara.
Yeah.
And that what make all the crew prisoner of their feelings.
How do you think that would go if Tasha Yar meet up with Ishara again in a situation like that?
I don't understand.
If Tasha Yar still was alive and she would join the away team to beam down to the tunnels to rescue those two Federation members, and she would encounter Ishara, how do you think that will go?
I thought I exposed that point right now. I will say Tasha, that we know, would not recommend the people there to trust in Ishara because of that axiom. What she is, I am not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They would fight in this point, and they, what can I say? They will be instead of this lethargy they had, falling in love to Ishara because of the death of Tasha. They would be protected by Tasha. Okay? She will not trust Ishara and would protect the whole crew. You see?
Do you think that this episode, or if Tasha would still be alive, do you think this would be a good idea to have some kind of a background story for Tasha.
If Tasha Yar was alive, this whole story would be completely different. Ishara would appear. I am Tasha's sister, and she come here, and she come online and say, and what? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you are my sister. I care if you are in that planet, and only for that we don't need to trust you.
How do you think that the other crew members reacted on Ashara? Because we see most, of course, from the profile of Data, but we don't see, for example, Worf or Riker or anyone else.
Well, only Data can have a unique perspective to Tasha Yar, because he was in a very uncommon state when he was drunk, and she was drunk too, and that possibility of they became intimate teached a lot to Data, and didn't teach almost anything to Tasha.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her death message. She said, Data, you see the universe with the eyes of a child, and I admire that in you. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So, if he in the Data fighting with Lore in the Picard series, he was remembering Tasha Yar too.
Mm-hmm.
That memory of her was there. It always will be there. That she was important to him. So despite he had this intimate connection to Tasha, he never shared with anyone. Okay, he protected that connection, and everyone respected that. It's a particular thing.
Do you think of that when Ishara gave him that little deflection device what she got in, and that Crusher took out of her, and she gave that to Data? Do you think that will be the same some kind of affection that he had for Tasha Yar, in a way? That he keep that as a remembrance of her?
Well, Ishara didn't give him the chance. All the events of this adventure there were so fast. So he didn't have time to understand her or study her.
Mm-hmm.
And the time he had, it was judging her about her final mission. He was at the time, and she was about to destroy the enemy base, and that would not have anything good for him or for anyone. And Riker was about to shoot her, and at the end, Data was the one who shot her down.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very fast to think and very happy to do. And well, she was so how can I say? She was so obsessed to that mission to do the things. And now that she haven't the detector installed, she could do that. She could kill Riker. She could kill Data only for her mission.
I know,
only the capacity of the crew of the Enterprise was good enough to avoid her to destroy that base.
Yeah. And of course, we see, and Reich mentioned that, is that she had the facial on kill, not on stun, but in one way, it's a good storyline because you see the differences between two groups of people, but also the violence they bring with.
Yes.
So it's very the opposite of what we know of Starfleet.
Yes.
What do you think?
No matter what she learned about that, the problem is that she understood that she lost a chance to join these people.
Do you think that Data had an effect to her about, in a way, their friendship? Because we saw in the end that she was hesitating to shoot Data.
Well, so when we have a weapon when we have a weapon in a situation, all do you think is what side of the weapon you are. So he was in the wrong side of the weapon, and even so he was courageous enough to be in favor of his courage, and in favor to be he was at the right side. He was trying to save lives.
Yeah.
And she was not interested in save anyone. That was a very disappointing to Data. And she paid for that.
Yeah. So in one of the end scenes, we see that Data visits Riker, and they were talking about friendship in general, and that situation remind me a lot when Wesley Crusher asked Riker for advice, and when Data came to him and Riker explained more or less what friendship really is, etc., etc. Do you think that this was also what the writers wanted to show us about Data growing?
I think it was a brick more in the wall that makes Data personality. It was a lesson for him.
Yeah.
And a very good chance that Ishara throw window away.
And I thought he didn't have his emotion chip at this time, right?
No. It was long to be installed.
Yeah, I think we have said enough about this episode. Do you want to add something?
Well, he learned something. He always learned something. he's always learning. And I believe all the crew learned something.
Yeah.
When we see the face, we don't see the heart.
Yeah. They were pretty devastated with what Ashara did. And I think it is logical because, of course, she was manipulating them with being Tasha's sister.
Yes. She used them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have said what we wanted to say. Is there anything else?
Well, I insist to say all the crew was taken by surprise.
Yes.
For someone who was only a sister of a good friend, of a lost friend, and they also paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they will not always to learn to trust someone if Guinan sister appears, of Guinan father appear, of a good friend of well, even Worf brother
Mm-hmm.
was there, and he also didn't deserve their trust. So
yeah.
Well, in Brazil we used to say relatives are like tooth.
Mm-hmm.
If teeth,
Yeah.
if they are too close, it's hard to clean. So that's a lesson they learned today.
Yeah. Well, this episode has been rated on IMDb as a 6.7. What would you rate it?
Well, I don't rate the Star Trek episodes. Are all 10 for me.
Okay.
Every time I have to watch an episode to discuss this with you. It was a very nice experience for me, and I love it.
Yeah, we always have something to talk about. Especially on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So, this will be the end of the episode. And that was also the last scene that we just spoke of. Thank you very much, Mark.
My pleasure, as always.
And I think I will contact you soon for another episode recap. Which will be funny.
I'll be ready, like as always, too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for listening, and join me in 2 weeks for a new episode recap. In the next episode, we will recap the episode Reunion. Checking around is to listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, on the Facebook group, and the YouTube channel. For the next few episodes, I'm still looking for a Trek friend who would like to recap with me the episodes from Star Trek TNG Season 4, Future Imperfect, The Loss, and Data's Day. I will see you in 2 weeks. Live long and prosper.